Hey, what's up? I'm Jesse T. William, and today I want to talk about my new design philosophy. I have exclusively homebrewed my campaigns since I have started running D&D, and I have almost exclusively homebrewed monsters for those campaigns since I've started. And it's not been up until recently, as I've gotten into this Patreon thing, that I've realized what I want out of my homebrews. So the link to my Patreon is going to be in the description. I have a new release on July 15th. I'm doing 2 releases a month right now. But anyways, let's break down this philosophy. The first thing I'm looking to do when I start a new homebrew is I want to construct a story. How does this creature, monster, construct fit into a world or a setting? So in my case, that means which setting is it from? So in the case of this homebrew that I'm going to be releasing on the 15th, there is a plane in my world that is the infernal side of the Feywild, and all of these creatures I'm releasing are from there. So what does that mean for these creatures? This plane is also the plane of lies, so trickery and deceit are core concepts in each of these builds. So each time I make a creature from this place, it has some kind of perspective on this concept of lying, this fey otherworldliness, sometimes twisted in very dark ways. And furthering that along, I start to think of a behavior. So let's think about the Eyeless Imposter. This is a creature that seeks a home. The way it goes about getting that home is very messed up, but that's what it wants. So as I've begun to construct this idea of the Eyeless Imposter and what abilities it's going to have and how the players should interact with it, everything is first built on the idea of a shameful creature that stalks through the forests or isolated places in general, looking for vulnerable people to prey on. So to be more specific, the story of the Eyeless Imposter. It is a lanky, long, weird creature with 2 empty eye sockets covered by skin that seeks to replace a member of a family or a member of a group. It stalks the group, makes sure that they are isolated, and then it strikes. It will kill one of the members of the group in the night and then remove everyone else's eyes. Then it replaces the member of the group that it killed. And so already we're prompting ideas for mechanics. In order for it to replace a member of a group, it needs some kind of charm effect. It also needs telepathy to communicate with the other members of the group. Claws and dexterity are very important if it's going to be removing eyes. But if it's targeting isolated groups, it can't be very strong. It has to have some kind of weakness, or rather, it is just weak in a relative sense. So all of that storytelling informs how I create the stats. So we've gained that much from our storytelling. Another important factor when creating a homebrew monster, at least the way I'm doing it right now, you don't have to take my advice, but I try to include some kind of obstacle or unique trait. So in the case of the Eyeless Imposter, it is this relationship with the group it's taken over. When a powerful adventuring party comes through and begins to investigate, the imposter hides. It tells the people it's charmed that it's afraid of these new people coming through. It calls upon its own victims to defend it, and so the party has to make a choice about how they deal with these innocent people. And the last thing I really want to get into, as far as designing a monster, is something that clicked in my brain after thinking about The Witcher and how they handle monsters. How oftentimes there's a specific item or specific thing that is needed to deal with the monster. So the only way to kill an Eyeless Imposter is once it is reduced to 0 hit points. It must behold the things it has done, again being a shameful creature, so much so that it does not even have eyes to see its own actions. Graphic warning, a player must cut open the skin barrier around the eye sockets so that the eye sockets can behold what the creature has done. Think about it like this. If your monster would work as a feature in an episode of Monster of the Week kind of game or even TV show, if there's enough content within the storytelling of the monster, and enough thought that should go into how to deal with it to fill that much space, then I think you've made a fun and engaging monster. So that's the design philosophy that guided me to make these last 4 creatures that I'll be posting on Friday. At least 3 of the 4 of them. One is just more of a fun, silly kind of creature, even though it's very dark. But I hope with these creatures I have provided enough of a framework so that DMs can pick them up and easily tell a story with them. I think the Eyeless Imposter and something called the Wailing Monarch are actually really, really great monsters to have in backstories. The last bit of this video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Infernal Fae and what that means in my world. So I've thrown out pretty much every single piece of lore that D&D has offered. Right from the start, as I've said, I homebrewed everything. So all of the gods in my world were once people who ascended into godhood. And there are two domains, or two gods who have domains that overlap with the Feywild. One of them is an infernal deity, and they are the god of lies. And this plane of lies, this infernal side of the Feywild, overlaps with the Feywild proper. When I think of a good liar, I think of someone who is intelligent and charismatic. And so it's important to me when I'm making these creatures and exploring this plane in my head that all of these creatures are intelligent. You can talk to them, they can reason with you, they'll try to trick you. It's just a misunderstanding. I can't help the way I am, but maybe you can help me. Fundamentally, it is a place of cruelty. There is no place for empathy or optimism. Those things will get you killed. So I hope that's able to inform how you view these creatures if you sign up for the Patreon. Again, I'm releasing these on July 15th, and then on my Patreon, I'm doing 2 posts a month. August 1st, I'm going to be posting a big bad or a mid-big bad from one of my old campaigns, and hopefully providing a framework for telling a story around that creature. And then I might make a high-level wizard encounter for mid-August. But I'm open to suggestions and questions, so go sign up for that Patreon. I didn't have a super solid script for this video. I mostly just ramble and rant, so I think this is the end.